Like most young drivers, I started in karting. Believe it or not, professional high-level karting is a big thing. So you kind of start at the club level, and over the course of 3 or 4 years, I worked my way up to eventually driving, in places like Europe, representing Team Canada. And that was about 2019, and then I transitioned into Formula Car. And since then, I won that Formula Ford F1600 championship, and now I'm in the road to Indy, hopefully on my way to being in the NTT Indy Car series.
Hey everyone, we're here at HIP Motorsports and you are watching the Track Limits podcast. HIP Motorsports is an incredible location in Toronto, the best place in my opinion to sim race. Jim and John here have been so great at taking care of us, not only us, taking care of corporations, private events, professional drivers that are coming to this facility to train, and including this person on my left. Now let me give the intro here because there's a lot to go through. One of the rising stars in the Indy circuit, the 2019 F1600 youngest champion ever.
Damn.
The 2022 USF Junior champion, and now currently driving in the USF 2000 championship. Welcome, Mac Clark.
Thank you for having me. I'm pumped.
Oh, yeah. Well, Mac, we just went through an hour and a half of sim racing against you. Are you sweaty?
It was intense. It was intense.
It was. We talked about it. Like, my heart was beating. I'm a little sweaty.
Yeah. Any feelings? Would you like to tell the Track Limits community and how the Track Limits team did?
Surprisingly well.
Okay.
I was like pleasantly surprised. You guys did awesome.
Thank you. Okay.
Except in the GT cars.
Yeah, we don't like those.
Abysmal.
We don't like those.
little
Anyways,
difficult.
Mac, walk us through your career because, again, these are just high-level superlatives. I want to know from you, even in 1 minute, what are some of the defining moments in your career thus far?
Okay, great. So, like most young drivers, I started in karting. Believe it or not, professional high-level karting is a big thing. So you kind of start at the club level, and over the course of 3 or 4 years, I worked my way up to eventually driving, in places like Europe, representing Team Canada. And that was about 2019, and then I transitioned into Formula Car. And since then, I won that Formula Ford F1600 championship, and now I'm in the road to Indy, hopefully on my way to being in the NTT Indy Car series.
Incredible.
That's amazing.
And what got you into motorsport? You could have been anything.
Yeah.
You seem like a very driven person as it is.
Thank you.
What got you into motorsport?
It was my dad. I got to give full credit to him. Growing up at the go-kart track, so he was, high-level racing on a national stage, won a few national championships. I don't like to toot his horn too often because it'll go to his head, but he's really who got me into it.
That's amazing. And for people who don't understand like a race weekend, how do you work with the team, set up the car, and even your race preparation before each race? Talk us through that.
It is a lot of prep before the race, which I think a lot of people don't realize. So you do go through a lot of motions where it's like watching film, like a football player, right? So I'll get sent on board of the previous year for my team, and I'll be studying that and going through, data analysis, as well as just like general notes that my driver coach will send me. And that's kind of like, the Tuesday, Wednesday leading up to the weekend, because then you usually have like Thursday, Friday free practice, and then Saturday, Sunday, you actually get into the racing. And on the Indy Car weekends, you don't get a lot of laps either. So it is quite sparse in between, and it's a lot of fun, and I'm lucky to do what I do.
And the F1600 championship you won, I mentioned you were the youngest ever. To put context, you were 16 years old.
Yeah.
What were you doing at 16?
Oh man, I don't even remember.
I don't want to remember.
Probably still Velcro shoelaces. I don't know, man.
But walk us through your feeling. How does that feel to win a championship like that at the age of 16?
I think winning championships is something that defines you as a driver. It was my second championship that I'd ever won, and it was special because it was, in a race car. It wasn't in a go-kart. I felt like I had accomplished something a little bit more, and I think that gave me a lot of confidence going into my kind of United States racing career. Because once, you're done Formula 1600 in Canada, there's nowhere else to really go in terms of open wheel except down south of the border. Right. So that's when I started in the USF Ford championship, eventually into USF Juniors. I think that championship really set a great base for me to kind of move into the next level of competition.
What's the next goal for you now in racing for your future?
So this year was USF 2000. The ladder system's a little bit complicated because it's all named USF. So USF Juniors is the bottom kind of rung in the road to Indy ladder. We won that in 2022. That gave me a scholarship to move up to USF 2000 for 2023. We ran that this year. We had 3 wins, 6 or 7 podiums. It was an okay year. It was a lot of learning as a
3
rookie
wins
campaign.
is an okay year. Oh my
That's
God.
good going.
That's great, man.
Yeah, that's congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Our goal was the championship, but that didn't end up happening. And we have our sights set on the next level up, which is called USF Pro 2000 for 2024.
Exciting. That's very exciting. Do you struggle now with balancing like you're racing and then your own personal life, like
Because you're in school.
yeah.
Wow.
Like you're not studying to be here with us today. Which
You're right. I have a midterm on Monday, but it is a bit of a tough balance. Like a lot of the drivers aren't in school, and when I say school, like we're talking like post-secondary education. I'm going for an engineering degree, so it is tough. You know, you got to separate the personal life, the school life, and the racing. So time management is key. My dad's always been, on me about that since a young age. Even since I was in high school, you're traveling for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and you come back and you're like, oh my goodness, I have no idea where we are. But it is a tough balance, but I'm managing right now, and I do enjoy it. I think it's important to enjoy it and give yourself breaks along the way.
And it must be great to also feel like a kid, because you see people your age in school, I bet. Then you go to the racetrack. You might see some people like you, but you probably also see a bunch of older people. Are there a lot of role models that you look up to in the driving world? Are there any that you could name for us?
100%. I think the racetrack kind of forces you to mature a little bit faster than you might regularly, just being a kid going to school. In terms of role models in the paddock, I'm very lucky to have a great team around me. So I'm currently working with D-Force Racing, and they have, a roster of really veteran guys there to help us. Mateus Leist, he was my driver coach this past year, former Indy Car driver. Very much a big help for me as someone who I know has done it before, right? As well as David Martinez, he's the guy who owns our team.
Yep.
And then the big one will be James Hinchcliffe, who I know you guys had
him
right?
on,
Yeah, that episode's already out, by the way. Plug. But
No, I love that. James is like a super big help, Canadian kid, born in the same area, and just a lot of advice on and off the track for me.
And in your career now, have you had many challenges, like in struggles, and then how do you even overcome them?
I think this year, honestly, was the most challenging for me. It was kind of a down year compared to like my last 3 seasons. And it is tough because sometimes you get in like what athletes would call a rut, right? Where you're struggling. I think it's important to keep perspective on it. At the end of the day, I walk away from the racetrack and it's like, man, I'm so lucky to be doing this every day. And what can I do to make this even better? So whether it's putting in work, off the track or making sure you're hyper-focused on the race weekend, you got to overcome those small challenges.
we were incredibly blessed to see you at Honda Indy Toronto this year.
That was great.
You were blistering. You were so quick and got unlucky in a few moments. There's an incredible photo taken by Niru, one of our incredible companions, and James Hinchcliffe and Matt Clark. Tell us in this moment, like what was happening? You know, what does it mean again to have someone like Hinch's support behind you?
I love that photo. Like that is one of my favorite photos ever. Shout out to Niru.
Mm-hmm.
There was so much emotion in that picture, and to be honest, it was kind of a feeling of defeat, of disappointment. It was a rough weekend. Both times on the last lap, you know, we put ourselves in a situation where we were, you know, going to win or be on the podium. And, you know, through no fault of our own, the race ended a different way. And so as a driver, that can be really frustrating, especially when you're racing in front of your home crowd. I hadn't raced at home in like 3 years. And so to have everyone there that weekend, I think made it a little bit more bittersweet, but more bitter in that moment. But having Hinch there to kind of, not even console me, but just to be there and to know that he's been through motions very similar to, you know, what I was at that time is very comforting.
No, that's cool. We were curious earlier, we were chatting. You have the name Jimmy in the back of your helmet. Who's Jimmy?
Jimmy is me.
Okay, you are
Yeah,
Jimmy.
I'm Jimmy. I'm the Jimmy like on the helmet.
Oh, we're renaming this whole episode now.
Yeah.
Jimmy Clark. So like actually a lot of my close like racing friends just call me Jim or Jimmy. Like if someone were to yell Jimmy from across the room, I'd be like,
Oh, damn. Okay.
yeah. No, it's
That's
a nickname
awesome.
that my dad gave me when I was like little.
Nice.
He was born in the UK, so it comes from like, you know, Northern England where instead of like buddy, everyone's just Jimmy.
Jimmy. We back home we say
Yeah.
lad, like lad.
Lad?
Yeah.
Okay. No, but it's Jimmy, so I've just
I like
always
that.
been Jimmy. Yeah.
I love it. I mean, Mikey, if you were racing, the back of your helmet would say lad.
100% lad. Lad. Yeah, 100%.
I love that.
Oh, yeah.
Final question here in the segment. I mean, competition clearly is ingrained in your family. You have a dad that's a national champion. You have a brother as well. You were talking to us before that
Yeah.
is incredible at long distance running. How is it growing up in such a competitive family?
I don't want people to think it's like one of those things where, you know, sometimes you see like those parent-child dynamics where it's like, oh no, like the parent is definitely driving that. It was never that way for us, like in the Clark household. My dad was always the one to be like, are you sure you want to keep racing? Like, you don't have to. Don't feel pressured. And it was always like, I'd always like punch him. I'm like, no, Dad, like I want to keep racing. So he's been a great help to me, and he has that kind of competitive fire, which helped me kind of grow into that. Because when you're young, you're like 9-10 years old, maybe you don't have that as much, but now it's definitely, I hate losing more than I like winning kind of thing, right?
Well, we saw that today.
He whooped us.
Whooped us. All right, well, that's the first segment. Stay tuned, guys. We're going to get right into the rapid fire round. We're here with Mac. Actually, no, we're here with Jimmy Clark.
Hey,
Jimmy. And we're getting into the rapid fire round. Nervous?
No.
Okay, all right. Well, probably should be. First question. If you could choose any driver, living or dead, to race with, who would be and why?
Greg Moore, Canadian hero.
Perfect. Okay, and why?
I mean, he just set the bar for Canadians. One of those guys growing up, gone too soon. And I mean, I always wear red gloves because of that reason. So, I mean, I think to share the track with him would be really special.
Brilliant.
What is the funniest thing that's ever happened to you on a race weekend?
On a race weekend? At Lucas Oil, after I won, I was spraying the champagne, and my engineer had never wanted the oval, and it was like all he wanted to do all year. So I jumped off to chase him, and like it was a painted surface, and there'd been like champagne on it, and I slipped and fell in front of the entire crowd. So it was embarrassing in the moment, but funny afterwards.
Is there video footage of this?
Oh, there's video footage.
We will
of
find
it.
it.
We'll find it.
We'll find it.
Yeah.
I think Nero has the video.
Yeah?
There was like a hole in my fire suit and everything.
Okay,
Like, it was like a big
right
tumble.
here. Greatest driver, F1 driver of all time, in your opinion?
I think still Schumacher.
Okay.
Yeah. If you had only one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Does ice cream count as a food? I think yes.
Outside of ice cream, because your teeth are going to be gone in like 6 months.
Pizza. Classic,
Okay.
boring answer, but like you can't go wrong. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
What's your favorite guilty pleasure TV show? Something you love watching, binging?
I'm watching Last Chance U right now.
Never
And it's
heard
like
of that.
it's a 4-season series on Netflix.
Okay.
I started a few months ago, and it's all about like high school football and basketball, like D2, D3, kind of like the trenches of like
Interesting.
youth sports.
If you had to have a superpower, what would it be and why?
I want to fly. I want to fly so
Fly?
bad. Yeah, man. I think anyone who says anything other than like flying or teleportation, like, what are you doing?
No, you do that on the track enough. Come on. If you had to choose another sport to do competitively, what sport would you do?
Football, like NFL, hands down.
NFL.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is like what piece of F1 memorabilia would you like to own? But even for like in your career, what piece of racing memorabilia would you love to own at the end of the day?
I think helmets are really special because helmets are kind of like driver identity type thing, right? So I think I'd like to have a collection of helmets.
Do you swap helmets at the end of like a season with a fellow competitor that's like been?
I'm not to that point yet, only because helmets are still really expensive.
Yeah, no, that's understandable.
So like, give me like a few years in the NTT Indy Car series, and maybe that'll start happening. I want to do that really bad.
Yeah,
That'd be
cool.
sick.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be sick.
Imagine if you did it with Hinch too. That'd be like an old helmet from him.
Full circle moment, right?
Yeah.
Oh
That'd be
yeah,
incredible.
that'd be cool.
Final question, rapid fire. And we're going to give you the choices of all the F1 and Indy Car drivers on the grid right now.
Yeah.
You got to go into an island. You're stranded. You got to bring 3 of them. Who are you going to bring?
This is like a survival situation.
Yeah.
Man.
Tell us why, actually,
Okay.
too.
I'm going first round pick from the IndyCar series. I'm going Scott Dixon.
Okay.
Guy's an animal.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
still like 42 years old. The Iceman, right?
Iceman,
So I feel
Kiwi.
like very,
Yeah.
very good in a survival situation.
Okay.
Taking Dixon. Definitely got to have some comedic relief. So I'm saying like Danny Rick.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Big guy, tall, can probably like reach for things like coconuts on trees,
Yeah.
stuff like that, right?
I love how you're analyzing this.
Yeah,
Love it.
no,
Love it.
it's full analysis. And then my 3rd round pick, I don't know, man. I think I got to go I got the comedic relief. I got like the Scott Dixon Iceman, maybe somewhere in the middle. Someone that I don't know because I feel like meeting a new driver would be good. I'd go like Hamilton. I feel like pretty serious guy. Good for a survival situation as well.
Yeah. If Hamilton was on that island, you would be saved like right away. There's
Exactly,
no way
bro.
they would let him stranded.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Mac. Final thing, really quickly in 30 seconds, your legacy. I know you're super young, but let's just even talk about your racing career. What do you hope to achieve?
NTT IndyCar series, man. The Indy 500. That's the goal. I mean, that's what I've kind of grown up dreaming of. And the last few years, I think it's starting to become a little bit more of a reality. So it's getting real, man.
That's
Cool.
exciting.
Matt Clark, you've heard it here first. Remember the name. This is someone definitely to watch. Thank you for watching this episode. Give it a like, share it. Make sure to follow Mac on his socials. They'll be right over here. Follow us on socials, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.